Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance, and today Byrna's relics are officially out, bringing a completely new layer to how this hero performs in battle. This isn't speculation, and it's not first impressions based on numbers alone. We're diving deep, testing these relics in real combat, and breaking down what they truly change for Byrna. Whenever relics are released for a hero, everything has to be re-evaluated. Damage output, survivability, scaling, and real battlefield impact all shift, sometimes subtly, sometimes dramatically. Byrna has since her release always had a very specific role, and actually big surprise even to low numbers, and with relics now available, the real question is simple: do these upgrades meaningfully elevate her, or do they just add stats without changing outcomes? Today, we'll explore Byrna's relics in detail, and share tested conclusions you can actually trust. By the end of this breakdown, you'll know exactly what these relics do, how valuable they are, and whether Byrna deserves a new place in your lineups after this release. Let's get into it, Guardians, and uncover what Byrna truly gains from her relics. Let's start with Byrna's first relic skill, the brand new one unlocked at Relic level 1, called Gift Spirit. At maximum level, this relic restores 100 energy every 6 seconds to the ally who currently has the highest energy that is not yet full. On paper, that might sound simple, but in practice, this is where Byrna's power curve changes significantly. This relic does not randomly distribute energy. It is selective. It always looks for the ally who is closest to casting their ultimate but hasn't reached full energy yet. That distinction matters a lot. What this means in real combat is that Byrna actively accelerates the next ultimate, not just energy generation in general. In our tests, this creates extremely consistent timing patterns. Damage dealers, controllers, and even tanks with strong ultimates reach their skills faster and more reliably. You don't get energy wasted on heroes who are already capped, and you don't get energy spread thin across the team. It is focused, targeted acceleration. Another important point: this energy regeneration is constant, not conditional. It does not depend on damage taken, healing done, or enemies present. As long as the battle is active, Gift Spirit keeps working every 6 seconds. That makes it very different from many other energy-based mechanics in the game that rely on triggers or reactions. Now here's where it gets interesting. Because Byrna is often played in teams with heroes that generate or manipulate battles naturally, this relic stacks incredibly well. When paired with heroes that already gain energy through attacks, buffs, or control effects, Gift Spirit doesn't just help them cast faster, it helps them chain ultimates. In longer fights, this creates momentum that becomes very difficult for the enemy team to break. So what does this mean for Byrna, overall? This first relic already pushes her beyond being just a supportive hero. She becomes a tempo controller. She doesn't just react to the battle, she dictates when key ultimates happen. Faster ultimates mean faster control, faster damage spikes, and faster fight resolution in your favor. And this is just the first relic. As we move deeper into Byrna's relic evolution, the question won't be whether she's stronger, it will be how much stronger, and in which compositions this energy acceleration becomes game-changing. Let's move on to the next relic and see how this power starts stacking. Now let's talk about the relic that truly shifts Byrna from strong support into top-tier battle controller, the upgraded Bear Cuddle. At legendary level, Bear Cuddle was already a powerful sustain tool. It targets the ally with the lowest health, applies a long duration effect, and every 2 seconds it restores health and grants energy. Even before relics, this skill alone made Byrna valuable in prolonged fights. But with the relic upgrade, Bear Cuddle changes category entirely. The moment Bear Cuddle restores health to an ally, all negative effects are removed from that ally. No delay. No chance roll. no condition. Heal happens, cleanse happens. But remember, Bear Cuddle needs to restore his life. If this doesn't happen, the effects will remain. This is not a passive aura. This is not a one-time dispel. This is a repeating cleanse tied directly to a healing cycle. Every 2 seconds. For 20 seconds. That means up to 10 consecutive cleanse checks on the same ally. In practice, this is devastating for control-heavy teams. Stuns, slows, silences, damage over time effects, debuffs, all of them are constantly stripped away as long as Bear Cuddle is active. And because the skill automatically targets the ally in the most danger, the cleanse is always landing exactly where it hurts the enemy the most. Now let's connect this to Relic scaling. At max values, Bear Cuddle heals for over 49,000 health every 2 seconds, scaling at 50% of Byrna's magic attack plus a flat value, while also granting 100 energy every 2 seconds. So we are not just talking about survival, we are talking about energy acceleration plus debuff immunity windows, chained together. This is where Byrna's relic design becomes clear. Her first relic controls who gets energy first. Her upgraded Bear Cuddle controls who cannot be controlled. And when those two are combined, Byrna starts creating situations where key heroes both cast faster and stay uncontrollable while doing it. We tested this extensively against heavy control compositions. What happens is very consistent. An ally gets focused, drops low, Bear Cuddle attaches, and from that moment on the enemy's control simply doesn't stick. Even if a stun or debuff lands, it is wiped almost immediately by the next heal tick. This is especially brutal against teams that rely on layered debuffs or damage over time effects to finish targets. They simply don't get the time window they need. And remember, this is still only her third skill, now empowered by Relics. So when you imagine Bear Cuddle combined with the rest of Byrna's relic tree, you start to understand why she is not just stronger, she is structurally oppressive. She doesn't win by raw numbers alone. She wins by denying the enemy their mechanics. And that's the key takeaway here. This relic doesn't just make Byrna heal more. It makes your team harder to control, harder to kill, and faster to act, all at the same time. And we're not even done yet. Because the next relic takes everything we've discussed so far and amplifies it even further. Now we reach the relic that completely changes how healing works in Byrna teams, Living Heart. At first glance, this looks simple. When an ally is fully healed, any extra healing no longer goes to waste. Instead, it increases that ally's maximum health. But the moment you understand the implications, you realize how massive this actually is. Before this relic, overhealing was largely one of the best skills of Byrna. Once a hero reached full health, additional healing was added to increase the maximum health, but only Byrna could increase the maximum health of a hero. With the relic upgrade Living Heart, that limitation is gone. Healing is no longer capped by current health, it is converted into permanent value during the fight. And here is the key part, this effect is not limited to Byrna's healing only. Once Living Heart is active, any healing coming from allies contributes to increasing maximum health when the target is already fully healed. That means Byrna turns the entire team into a scaling engine. Thea, Hoos, Martha. Any healer or regeneration source on the team, but remember Aiden, it's not a good choice to this Skrill due to his skill bonds of fire that can triggers the hero with high test heal and this case can. All of them now feed into the same mechanic. This is why this relic is so dangerous. In our tests, what happens is very clear. Early in the fight, heroes reach full health quickly thanks to Byrna's sustain. From that moment on, healing no longer just maintains the team, it inflates it. Health pools quietly grow over time, especially on frontline heroes and key carries that are constantly receiving heals. And this is not a one-time boost. The effect stacks gradually, as long as healing continues and the target remains at full health. Now combine this with what we already saw. Bear Cuddle ensures constant healing, energy, and repeated cleansing on the lowest health ally. Gift Spirit accelerates ultimates and keeps momentum high. Living Heart makes sure that no healing is wasted, ever. This creates a feedback loop. More healing, more max health. More max health, harder to kill targets. Harder to kill targets, longer fights. Longer fights, more healing and more scaling. And suddenly, Byrna teams don't just survive, they outscale. This is especially brutal in matches that don't end instantly. Against control teams, burst teams, or damage over time compositions, Living Heart slowly tilts the fight until the enemy simply can't push through the growing health pools anymore. What makes this relic even more impressive is that it doesn't require perfect timing or manual activation. It just works. As long as your team heals, Living Heart is active. And because it synergizes with multiple healers, Byrna doesn't replace heroes like Aiden, Goose, or Martha, she amplifies them. Every point of healing they produce now has double value, immediate sustain and long-term scaling. This is why this relic is massive. It doesn't just improve a skill. It rewrites the efficiency rules of healing itself. By the time Living Heart is unlocked and active, Byrna is no longer just supporting the team, she is reshaping the battlefield, turning time into an ally and making every second favor her side. And when you look at the full relic kit together, one thing becomes very clear. Byrna is not about explosive moments. She is about inevitable advantage. And that is far more dangerous. Now we arrive at Byrna's final relic, unlocked at legendary relic level 30, Nature's Blessing. On the surface, this relic looks simple, a flat 30% increase to the healing effectiveness of Byrna's skills. No conditions, no triggers, no exceptions. But in the context of everything we've already analyzed, this relic is the final multiplier that pushes Byrna from strong into oppressive. By itself, a 30% healing increase is already powerful. But Byrna doesn't exist in isolation. This bonus directly amplifies every healing interaction we've discussed so far. Gift Spirit accelerates ultimates, meaning healing skills come online faster. Bear Cuddle now heals harder, cleanses more reliably, and feeds even more energy. Living Heart converts excess healing into permanent maximum health. Nature's Blessing multiplies all of it. Every heal tick is bigger. Every overheal converts into more max health. Every sustain loop becomes harder to break. And because Byrna's healing is already frequent and continuous, this 30% boost compounds over time. In long fights, the difference becomes enormous. What used to be enough healing becomes unstoppable sustain. Instantly, they lose because they can no longer push damage faster than Byrna's team grows. And that's the key point. Nature's Blessing doesn't change how Byrna plays. It locks in everything she already does, permanently. At this stage, Byrna isn't reacting to the fight anymore. She's defining its pace, its length, and its outcome. And that brings us to the full picture of Byrna's relics. When you look at each relic on its own, they already at clear value. Gift Spirit accelerates key ultimates and keeps your team moving faster. Bear Cuddle becomes a powerful sustain and cleanse engine, protecting the ally that matters most at the exact moment they need it. Living Heart changes how healing works entirely, turning excess healing into long-term scaling and making every healer on the team more valuable. And finally, nature's blessing ties everything together by amplifying all of Byrna's healing, ensuring that none of this power ever falls off in longer fights. Together, these relics don't change Byrna's role, they perfect it. She remains a support and sustain hero at her core, but with relics, she becomes far more consistent, far more oppressive over time, and far harder to counter. Teams built around healing, energy control, and long engagements benefit enormously, and compositions that rely on wearing the enemy down gain a massive advantage once Byrna's relics are online. This is exactly what we expect from a well-designed relic release. Each upgrade strengthens existing mechanics, rewards good team synergy, and scales naturally into late-game battles without breaking the balance of the hero. If you already liked Byrna before Relics, she's now simply better at everything she was meant to do. And that's the real takeaway here. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and as always, salute and friendship.